indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everyone to our July 5th meeting. A little unusual on a Wednesday for us, being that yesterday was a holiday. Please note the council's in attendance except for Mr. Halapaska. First item on our agenda is items from council. Before I forget, I know we do need to pull E1. We're going to put that on the 18th agenda, I suppose. Need to do a little bit more work on that. That's a staff request, so no problem with that. Ms. Elise, did you?
No, I just wanted to say that the fireworks display was phenomenal last night.
Yep. Thank you, Colby, and everyone else.
And Hartman Distributing.
Yes.
Absolutely. Their generosity is there every year. It's great.
It's incredible.
Okay. Anything else from council? If not, we'll go into citizens' communication. We do have two people here that have requested to be on the agenda, and we can Gulf Bend Mental Health Officer Program. Jeff, do you want to go first? Sure. Mr. Tunnel, come on up and tell us what's going on.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I'd like to, back in May, I came before the council and asked for you to adopt a task force agreement and a MOU between the city of Victoria and Gulf Bend to help start a mental health officer program. Within that, JJ's department dedicated one officer, and then the sheriff office provided one officer. We've had two in place in May. I want to provide an update to the council member to show what the impact that has already taken place in a short period of time with having just two officers in place, being more proactive instead of reactive in the environment. Since May, there's been 23 wellness checks with individuals within the Victoria area. 2 peace officer warrants were issued by 4 psychiatric hospitals. 2 transports to psychiatric hospitals outside the Victoria area, which we know we have no hospital here, so our closest is either in Houston, San Antonio, Austin. So it's a 2+ hour drive for them. 1 transport by a community partner, assisted in 2 de-escalations from aggressive male individuals going through crisis, accompanying our crisis team to local schools and help with the evaluation and assessments for follow-ups, 3 screenings by the mental health officers, which resulted in the MCOT, our crisis team, being called out in order to address the situation. Since June, there's been 43 wellness checks, and usually those are individuals that have been identified that have missed appointment at Gulf Bend or have been identified by law enforcement as an individual that was in a crisis last week or some other time, and they're going back through and following it up as a wellness check. 2 individuals were referred to the mental health officers as being endangered to self or others. 1 peace officer warrant was issued for hospitalization, and 1 transport to the San Antonio Hospital. That's just from June 1st to the 16th. I will share a couple of stories. The last 3 Wednesdays have not been very unusual as far as for the 2 officers. For whatever reason, Wednesday, and I have not checked with them today, but for the last 3 Wednesdays, an individual has come into crisis and it's taken both officers, usually 8 or 9 hours during their shift, to maintain and work with that individual while they found him to get stable, get him in the hospital, as far as get evaluations done, med clearance, and then doing the transport. So the impact associated, and I'm sharing with the council, and I shared with the county judge and commissioners as well, the value of this in the community, although you may not see it, but it is being felt. But there are only 2 individuals. There's more to come if, along out of this last legislative session, for funds to come back in the community to enhance what we have in place now. So I'm just educating and providing information to the council that thank you for the support and thank you for providing this initial step. The funding for this, though, 75% comes from the state, 25% Gulf Bend is providing with the in-kind match in order to kick this project off. We have applied for this same grant to go forward starting September 1st. We feel like out of the legislative session, The appropriations is there to continue this. So we're excited that we have already started, and the state is aware, and the agency I work with is aware, and enjoy the activities that we've already seen and the success that we've accomplished. But there's more to go as we have more time and more officers in place.
Very good. Sounds successful so far.
So far.
Absolutely. So the short term, because the next application or grant with the state, that'll be a 2-year time period. Is that true? Or I'm just curious about your funding.
Normally, the funding goes from year to year. They're
Okay.
changing their system process in Austin right now with the agency we work with, which is HHSC, Human Health Service Commission. They're trying to do it in 2-year blocks. So we're hoping that this particular grant will get because of the funding, and there really wasn't any changes for funding for mental health. We feel like we will get a 2-year block on this one, but maybe not.
Good, good. I know that helps with stability, knowing going
little
forward,
bit.
so that's great. Okay, very good.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have one other gentleman to be asked to be on the agenda. Mr. Peacock, is he here? There he is. And I didn't mention, we put the timer on the screen. We don't mean to pressure anyone, but we ask that you try to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, out of respect for everyone else's time.
Howdy, I'm Walter Peacock. I work for Texas A&M and Texas Sea Grant. I would like to pass out these flyers to everybody really quick. I'm here today to talk about a workshop that we are putting on in Victoria County that talks about resiliency and growth over the next 20 to 40 years. We're funded by FEMA to talk about flooding risk. And what we do is we start out a workshop by talking about what powers the community has to reduce risk in the future. And after talking about, normal planning processes and things the community can do, if you flip on the back of that flyer I just gave you, we actually project an image of the community onto the table and allow the community to draw hypothetical development scenarios onto this map. So this could be, like parks, this could be buildings, this could be suburbs. You can draw anything you want. Think of kind of like SimCity. And as you draw these different types of developments onto the map, little charts will come up, indicators saying population increases, how many homes you put into the floodplain, how much water demand these new residences and these new buildings will require. And it's just to get the idea of what will happen as you put in new developments for the future. On top of that, we are modeling hurricanes, sea level rise, storm surge, so you have an idea of what risk are these new developments. What risks do these new developments have? In addition to that, FEMA is the one that decides where we go next because they are releasing their new proposed firm maps. So you can see the change and the difference between what current firm maps are enacted and what the future ones will be. What houses and what areas are now in the floodplain, which weren't in the past. Let's see, other things are, it will be on August 9th, and it will be from 11 to 4, and it will be at the 4-H Center here in Victoria. And one of the most important things is free lunch. So bring your appetite, bring your ideas, and also you're the experts of your own community. We're not experts. What we're here is just to show data in a new way of viewing it, to get a discussion going, to talk about what problems, what risks we have as a community.
Is this a public meeting?
It is public, yes. Also, I forgot to say, if you are a certified planner or a certified floodplain manager, we are offering free credits, continuing education credits. It's no cost to y'all, but it's just a first step to talk about these new things.
So the public that might watch this on TV,
Yes,
where would
they're
they go to get?
more than welcome to come. And if they want to come, all they have to do is send me an email at wmpeacock@texasaem.org. tmu.edu to RSVP. No cost to anybody. More the merrier.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Looks really interesting. Okay, citizens' communication still open, if anyone would like to come forward and talk about anything at all. Okay, seeing no one get up, we'll close citizens' communication and move into ordinances. We do have one here without a public hearing. C1?
C1, an ordinance amending the 2016-2017 City of Victoria General Fund budget in the amount of $11,260 to provide funding for demolition of these structures at 1005 South Bridge and 904 Julius, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for savings, and declaring an effective date.
So move.
Second.
Motion second. Is there questions?
Public hearing? Oh,
No.
it's the second, third, I'm sorry.
No. Don't mess me up now. I usually do
Just had a
that.
checkbox.
Did these two structures go through? We have a board that looked at this, right?
They have.
They did go through that, okay. I didn't have time to go take a look at those two today, so I trust that they're in need badly, so. Are there any-
That's coming out of general fund, right? From the
Oh,
funding?
Andrew, yeah.
We're out of CDBG funds? Or we're not doing demolition with CDBG funds?
This is for, excuse me, this is to replenish funds that we use to do this demolition. These funds will be used on future, to replenish the funds that we took out of our contractor mowing line item for Weedy Lot.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned you were gonna do this at a prior
Well, we
meeting.
didn't budget for demolition this year. That was
No.
a cost savings in our budget for 17.
But y'all did mention the
Yeah.
cost savings, and you were planning to bring this to us.
Correct.
And I think to answer the question, I don't believe either one of these, I wish John was here. Most of the information came from John Kaminsky, but I don't think either one of these are eligible for CDBG. I don't think they're in an
On
eligible area.
Julius?
I
I
would
would think that it would
What?
be.
don't know if there's anybody.
Julie's
maybe. here.
Julie's back there.
Can
She
address that?
she can
Yeah, I'm
answer.
talking about Julius should have been,
So to be eligible for CDBG funding, there is two parts. One, it does have to be in an eligible area, but the other part is there has to be an applicant. And in the case of Julius, I believe the property owner is deceased, can't find the heirs, property title didn't find anything. And so we don't have an applicant, they can't apply for the funds.
I didn't know that. I thought they just had to be in the area.
No,
Okay.
it's an income verified application process,
Oh, okay,
but it does also have to be in the area.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, C1 passes. So the consent agenda, you get to read all of that
I
material.
know.
All right.
Are you ready?
In one breath. Almost does it in one breath.
C1, approval of minutes of regular meeting of June 20th, 2017. C2, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a renewal of the annual supply contract for liquid ferrous chloride with Penco Inc. in the amount of $224 per liquid ton for a total of approximately $59,136, based on an estimated annual quantity of 264 liquid tons and declaring an effective date. C3, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a renewal of the annual supply contract for liquid ferrous sulfate with Altivia Chemicals in the amount of $104.40 per liquid ton for a total of approximately $41,760 based on an estimated annual quantity of 400 liquid tons and declaring an effective date. C4, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a renewal of the annual supply contract for liquid ammonium sulfate with Brentag Southwest for an amount of $168.80 per liquid ton for a total of approximately $28,189.60 based on an estimated annual quantity of 167 liquid tons and declaring an effective date. A resolution, number 5, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an amended annual supply contract for liquid chlorine with Brentag Southwest in the amount of $603 per liquid ton for a total of approximately $129,645 based on an estimated annual quantity of 215 cylinders and declaring an effective date. C6, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a renewal of the annual supply contract for a liquid phosphate-based corrosion inhibitor with Brentag Southwest in the amount of $755.80 per liquid ton for a total of approximately $56,685 based on an estimated annual quantity of 75 liquid tons and declaring an effective date. C7, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a renewal of the annual supply contract for liquid sulfur dioxide with DCP Inc. in the amount of $739 per 1-ton cylinder for a total of approximately $42,123 based on an estimated annual quantity of 57 cylinders and declaring an effective date. C8, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a renewal of the annual supply contract for liquid sodium chloride with International Dioxide in the amount of $923.75 per liquid ton for a total of approximately $110,850 based on an estimated annual quantity of 120 liquid tons and declaring an effective date. C9, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a renewal of the annual supply contract for wastewater sludge dewatering polymer with Fort Bend Services, Inc. in the amount of $2,944 per 2,300-pound tote for a total amount of $44,160 based on an estimated annual quantity of 15 totes and declaring an effective date.
Allison, I'm not real sure, but those are actually D and not C,
Where?
where you're saying C7, C8,
Are they?
C9, they're all Ds.
They are all Ds, you are correct.
I'm not sure if that makes a difference, but
That would be C1 through C9. as-
D.
D.
Darn it. I'm sorry.
D1 through D9.
D1 through D9.
Yes.
I'm sure we're good to
So I'll
go.
make a motion to approve items D1 through D9 as
Second.
presented.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, ayes have it. We're going to pull, the resolution's E now. We pulled E1, so we'll go to E2. Get to keep reading.
Thank you. Are you sure?
Yeah, E2.
E2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a renewal of the annual supply contract for gasoline and diesel fuels with New Distributing Company, Inc., based on the Victoria Placido Oil Price Information Service, daily branded low rack price for an estimated total amount of $1,083,813 and declaring an effective date.
I move to adopt E2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on E2?
Did the previous contracts run out and we're doing a new contract and this will have the future extensions in it? Is that right?
Yes, last year we rebid. This is our first extension.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same? Okay. E3, just before she even reads that one, I'm going to abstain from that one. My wife is employed by Wells Fargo, but she's very far removed from this business, but I'm going to abstain anyway, just for the record. Go ahead.
E3, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute all documents necessary to accept the application of Wells Fargo Bank to provide bank depository services for an initial 3-year term with the option for 2 additional 1-year extensions.
So move.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any questions? Andrew's ready.
Here to address any questions.
Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same? Okay, thank you. E4.
E4 is a resolution appointing 1 new member from the hotel and convention industry and reappointing 5 current members to the Hotel Occupancy Tax Funds Committee and declaring an effective date.
I move that we insert Oscar De Nicolas as the third vacant position for the hotel motel. position. The Hotel Occupancy Tax Committee.
So a motion to approve,
Yes.
just adding his name in?
Just adding his
On the
name.
one vacancy.
I'll s-
Do we need to vote to reappoint the others first? I don't know.
Or
It
do
doesn't
we
matter.
reappoint? Because, well, I don't know.
we have
It's
to
part of
vote-
the resolution already.
It's part of the resolution.
We have to fill in the blank.
Yeah, just to fill in the blank and accept the other 5.
I second Ms. Solis's motion.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was reading the CM1 here, yeah. I think that action should do it, unless anyone here feels otherwise. That motion and that second should do it.
Seems like, yeah, we would vote to fill in the blank, and then there
It's
would be
to
a
fill
second
a
vote.
vacancy. Uh-huh,
Okay. To fill a vacancy.
right.
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah, we're getting a bit confused here. So we're just voting to fill the one vacancy? Is that what's
We have
happening?
2 votes, right? Fill the vacancy and then reappoint.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, so are there any other, basically, this was a nomination for this gentleman to be in that spot. And there's no other nominations for anyone else? I'm fine with this. Okay, and we do need to vote on this? All right, all those in favor of placing Mr. DeNicholas's name in the blank there, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same? Okay. So now we have a full slate of 6 candidates we need a motion on.
So I make a motion to appoint the 6 candidates listed where the vacant spot is filled out with the approved Oscar DeNocolis.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second for E4 now. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same? Okay, passes. And I just want to thank all the members of that committee. Did we read their names?
No,
George Matthews, Raj, how do you say that last name? I shouldn't, that's Ponchel. And of course, Mr. DeNicholas is there now, Mike Rivera, Vic Caldwell, and James Weird. And we appreciate their time and service on that commission. That's not an easy one. Okay, moving on.
E5, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an unapproved property contract for the purchase of a 5.65 acre tract of real estate from the JW and DL Bremen Children's Limited Partnership and declaring an effective date.
Make a motion to approve E5?
Second.
Okay, we have motion second. Are there any questions? Part of the Placido Benavides extension.
Yes, sir.
We're all pretty familiar with that.
So the total is the 5.65 of the correction that you sent us?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's not the little sections was 5.65 each section?
No, it's just
Okay.
that one piece.
Okay.
Okay, no questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
E7, a resolution authorizing the city.
Six.
E6.
We need to do 6.
E6, a resolution awarding the North Heights Rehab Overlay Project Phase 3, East Brazos Street to Brandon Paving Company LTD for their low bid of $1,470,426, authorizing the city manager to execute all documents necessary to complete the project and declaring an effective date.
move to adopt E6.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any questions?
How long ago was the budget set out for this?
I think the budget was set out in, Kim, was that 2014?
Oh,
2014.
goodness, okay.
Every year, we've been marching along.
Marching along.
Yeah. Looks good over there.
How many more streets do we lack in finishing that project?
We will go through 4 more streets that take us through 2021. And those streets include Colorado, Guadalupe, San Antonio, and Nueces after this one.
Yeah.
And those were all budgeted also in 2014, so are we looking for
Those aren't-
increases by the time?
Those
or
aren't
they're not?
budgeted. They're,
Okay.
they'll be
Estimated.
coming to you for approval
okay.
as we move further in.
Good,
You'll redo your estimates, though.
Yes, we'll
Okay.
redo
We
our
revised the
estimates.
estimates,
okay.
yes. This one was under the radar.
Oh, okay.
Scott, go ahead.
the CM1, the budget for the remaining 4 phases has been adjusted to reflect the increase in construction costs.
Yes, ma'am.
The bids were tighter than they have been, if you notice, which I suppose is a good thing. The city manager and I talked about them a little bit before the meeting. It's interesting, looking at the detail. I never will understand how the companies do all that, but at least they're close, so. Okay, any further questions? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
E7.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Foresight Golf LLC in the amount of $45,000 for 6 months of consulting services related to the management and maintenance of Riverside Golf Course and declaring an effective date.
Council?
Make a motion to approve item E7.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Are there any questions?
Yes. In those 6 months, are we expecting to have somebody in place already to run it? Or, you know?
This is purely an interim deal. We're currently working on an RFP to release, and we anticipate a company starting January 1. By the time we get through the whole RFP process and get a contract back to council, I anticipate the contract, it'll be November before you get the contract back after we've gone through that process. So we're trying to do it as quickly as possible, so.
Would this company do any management, or they would simply be advising
They're advising us on how to
us?
run the
And
golf
so we'll
course.
be managing in the short run, is our anticipation.
Yes, we are. And then at the next meeting, July 18th, we will bring you a budget back and a budget amendment back on how we're going to pay for that during the next 6 months. So
I've been asked if we're going to keep any of the current employees of the association to help out.
we have hired 3 on a temporary basis only of their crews that were on their maintenance crews. Yes,
Okay.
They went to work for us on Monday.
Okay.
So, yeah, they're helping us, and we're augmenting those 3 with Parks employees.
Okay.
When the next meeting, the 18th, you're going to bring back some more.
We're going to bring a budget to you, what we think it's going to take for the next 6 months, and then budget amendments to pay for that.
So the annual budget of VPIA was, what was that?
Oh, I
do you
think it was
remember?
800,000 or 900,000.
Okay, keep that in mind, because we're going to have to run it for 6 months. So if that gives you an idea, I mean, they had to spend that much a year just to keep things going. We're going to have to spend some money to keep it going until this new company eventually gets in place, and then also additional capital expenditures, I would imagine, to make improvements. So that shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, it costs money to keep the thing open. We're in charge of it. We can't just absorb it. I'm not really talking to council, more just for the benefit of the public. It's just not going to suddenly be absorbed without additional cost. So, but we'll manage it.
I think one thing too, kind of keep in mind, right now, we're not getting any revenue in because we're not open for play. Once we get open for play, we'll start bringing in some revenue. It's not going to cover those entire costs though. So, but we will start bringing some revenue in. We've got a small amount coming in right now for cart leases that were in place. So just not a whole lot of revenue.
And just as a reminder to general public, why it's closed now is for root growth.
And Colby can give an update on what we're going to do with the maintenance.
That'd be great.
Members, thank you. We started Monday, working out there with our crews. We're developing maintenance, practices of how we're doing our rotations and things. I have met with one of the representatives from Foresight as far as the immediate needs on the greens. We've got a plan developed for that. He is going to lay out a complete plan for each green as far as the nutrients that is needed, what type of programs that we need to run as far as augmenting the soil. And so one of the first things that we will do is put a soil augmenter in it, then we will top dress, and then we will aerify. And so you'll see over the next couple months, you may see the grass looks like it's been almost tilled, but it hasn't. We'll be verticut, and I verticutted one of the fairways today. And so you'll start to see those things, but that's what the company's coming in and doing to give us those insights of what we need to do on the greens especially, and what chemicals need to go out for that playing surface.
And their role is advisement. They're not doing the actual payments for soil testing and chemicals or anything like it. It's an advisory role only.
That is correct.
And like the mayor said, one thing we have to keep in mind, that it requires an expert to understand how to manage a golf course and to take care of those greens. I had somebody today just ask me about, well, isn't it just like mowing your yard and taking care of your yard? It's not. Those greens are special, it's a special item, it's a living, organism out there, and we need the assistance on what to do, so we're doing things right going forward and not losing ground on what's going on out there. I know I asked Cole because I drove by and looked at it on Monday. You see some dead grass out there. It's like, okay, what are we doing with that dead grass? Well, he explained to me that some of the areas that had not been mowed, they're catching up on mowing, so that's some grass laying there.
Yeah, the White Nine that was closed, there's portions of that facility that was, a foot and a half tall or so. And so we're going through and we shredded it first, and then we're slowly starting to bring it down. Well, once you cut that much off the leaf, you're going to get a brown. And so that brown will be there. We're doing irrigation analysis on each one, going to every single head that's out there and marking those, seeing what's, if they're working, what's all wrong with them, are they level? And so it's going to take some time to do that, but that's why you'll see some brownness out there as well, is that, we're bringing that green, that fairway and green back online.
I've had some good comments, thanking us and looking forward to the work. No pressure, Colby, but I know people will expect a good course to be ready whenever it is ready, next few months, so.
we're
But a lot of
working hard to
positive
get there.
comments, really have.
And I
so.
will say this, we had a smooth transition from VPIA, so it went very smooth.
Good.
That was a thank you to them.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, any more questions on?
So you're looking at like a Labor Day opening? Is the
I
plan?
think it's, Mr. Bogdan, I think it's too early right now to tell. I think that we've got to get the health of those greens coming back. We've got a lot to do in the clubhouse with point of sale systems and all those. So to be able to come out until today and say a date, I don't think that I'm prepared to do that. I think.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot that specific. So is it better to say it's a minimum 60-day closing?
I'm saying approximately.
Yeah.
Because, I was going to say, if we can get it open sooner, we're going to get it open sooner.
Yeah.
So that's our goal. We think we can be ready within 60 days. But if something comes up in the next 2 weeks and we have a setback or something, but no. That's why I keep saying approximately 60 days.
I think for the public, it's easier for us to do this job right now without play on it. And so that we don't have to take that into account as we're going through and aerifying or doing those things, that we're not worried about play coming right behind us, and we're able to open the greens up, and we may, if we need to leave them open for an afternoon or for a day or two until we get the right amount of moisture in there, we don't have to close it back up for play. And so it's really a benefit for us.
You're going to have to explain that. Opening up and closing now.
Oh, I'm sorry. When we're basically punching holes into the ground, and so that we're allowing water and nutrients and air to get to the soil, and so which will promote a healthier growth. If we can do that and we can leave the ground open, and we don't have to worry about a guy coming behind us that's wanting to play and putt. There's some steps that we won't have to do to get it right there, and it can be more beneficial to the green at that point when it has that time to recover without having to go immediately back into closing that hole back up so that a ball can be putted.
Okay, very good. Any further questions? If not, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay. E8.
E8 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an amendment to the professional consulting services agreement with Burns and McDonald for landfill evaluation services, which will result in an increase of the total contract amount to $26,330 and declaring an effective date.
I move to adopt E8.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded. Are there any questions? Darrell's ready.
I'm ready.
Just keep taking care of that asset out there. I know that
Working
landfill
on
is
it.
important.
We're
Very
moving
important.
forward.
All right, very good. Seeing no questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Okay, that passes.
Thank you.
Is there anything left? Nothing left? Then we're adjourned. Thank you very much.